So Dune Awakening is out, we can finally play this third-person shooter. I'll be honest, as a massive Dune fan, when I first saw this game's combat, I was a bit worried, as fast-paced shooting does not really fit Dune lore. But more on that later. So I took it upon myself to build a character and play him as lore accurately as the game allows, taking Frank Herberts' writing as groundwork and Denis Villeneuve's movies as visual inspiration. And because who wants to be an honorable, peaceful, righteous Atreides, in other words, beta male, I decided to create a Harkonnen Giga Chad, based on none other than Fade Rautha, a formidable swordsman who was the nephew and heir of the Baron Vladimir, everyone's favorite floating blob.
Why Dune?
Fade was supposed to be the next emperor, until Paul shoved the knife in his brain. But Paul Atreides was never born in this alternate timeline of Awakening, so the biggest problem is already solved. Our brain is intact. Now I just have to enslave a planet and become emperor. Sounds easy enough.
Show yourself, child.
The game supported my endeavors surprisingly well, allowing for a Harkonnen noble background and swordmaster training backstory. And now all I had to do is give my best shot at recreating Fade. Which wasn't that hard. Skin, easy. Haircut, easy. Now some muscles, ridiculous cheekbones and some scars and tattoos showing signs of sadomasochism, and voila! Fade Crow Harkonnen was born, and apparently grew up to be charismatic, sadistic, and vicious with an unending lust for blood and power. Hopefully the game allows choices that reflect such wonderful qualities. Apparently, the main mission in Awakening is to find the Fremen.
You have one task. Find the Fremen.
As they were nearly eradicated. So hopefully we can do that and finish the job, of course, as any Harkonnen would do.
Genius. We're literally melting rock on their heads.
The job looks easy as I instantly befriend some guy who is suspiciously Fremen-like but says he isn't one and tells me all about survival on Arrakis. So, I play along, thank him and conveniently leave out the part where I plan to genocide the native population and have a monopoly on spice production and hopefully kill as many Atreides as I can in the meantime as well. And we venture out into the desert so I can finally start looking at cool worms and slaughter bandits.
Gotta get found!
Combat in the world of Dune is originally much slower, especially close-quarter combat, which focused on precise melee strikes, as opposed to projectile weapons, which were made mostly obsolete by shield technology. Still, some projectile weapons were used in combats like the Mala pistol, especially on Arrakis, where shields were less common as they attract sandworms. While I use some projectile weapons occasionally with this character, I want him to be a dagger and sword-wielding menace. I also want to focus on poison, as in the few encounters we have with Fade in the books, he is usually sneaking poison onto his blades and into his enemies. We'll see if the game allows for such builds. While we were talking about lore, I built my first base, which is a peak male living space. And took on a few missions to raid shipwrecks, Imperial testing stations, and kill some bandits for this guy who promised to teach me his moves in exchange. A fair deal, as I can satisfy my quote-unquote unending lust for blood, and get rewarded for it.
Track them down. Kill them.
But before we do that, my definitely not Fremen friend guides me into a cave, where I get high as a kite on spice and dream about Fremen lore, as a woman is dumping local stories and foreign gibberish on me.
Ibn Kirtaiba. The weight of a kindly god is a fearful thing.
Harkonnens are ruthless slavers, who not only looked down on and underestimated but actively persecuted the Fremen, who they viewed as savage cavemen, which was one of the contributing factors to the house's downfall. On my way to some shipwreck I stumble into this guy who apparently lives in a rock and is looking for some vials he left in the labs below him. He wants me to find the vials, promising to teach me about rocks and geology in return. As my character is mainly interested in pain, power, and putting pointy things into people. And he definitely doesn't care about rocks. I turn down Derek's request, and since I can't stab him in the area, I proceed to the shipwreck. This is the first place where I can finally have some real fun and feed people my knees and my knife, which is what I do. This is still far from the gladiator pits of Gedi Prime, but it will have to do for now. My reward is a knife that steals enemy blood, which couldn't be more fitting to Feyd-Rautha, so it looks like I have a new main weapon. Next stop is the testing station, and it's a degenerate Harkonnen's wet dream. A bunch of crazy people high on some leaves, attacking anyone they see. There's not much we know about Feyd's upbringing. He's only in a handful of pages and scenes in the original novel, which is why I chose him as inspiration for this run, to have some freedom with it. But one of his scenes is famously him stabbing drugged up slaves in an arena, which is surprisingly close to what went down in this testing station, so I'd say the lore accurate run is going great. Much better than I expected. During my drug-crazed fights with the lunatics, I find a hidden room with Derek's vials in it, and I take those without hesitation. Not to give it to him. I still don't care about rock formations, but so that others can't give it to him either, and the guy can keep hiding on top of this rock forever. The spoils of my raid of the testing station are enough to craft my first vehicle, a sandbike, and I happily venture out to complete my bounty hunting contract before getting out of this barren shithole. The bounties are not really a challenge. It turns out the guy with the contract wasn't even in some serious blood feud with him. They were just drinking buddies who embarrassed him.
They took me to a bar, got me drunk on spice beer and plied me with samuta. When the battle started, I could barely walk.
I can absolutely get behind that. Happy to help a fellow psychopath. And I get a cool grappling hook and a grenade from him, so this is where I call it a day in Haga Basin South. Time to head down into the Vermilius Gap and finally connect with my house. We'll see what a fellow conniving Harkonnen can do for me. Maybe we can start connecting to my roots, backstab an Atreides, and keep looking for the Fremen in hopes of enslaving the locals. All of this and so much more is waiting for us, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel and don't miss the next episode. I'm also probably going to do lore-accurate Atreides as well as specific character-inspired playthroughs. The possibilities are endless in the Dune universe. Let me know if you would like to see a Paul Muad'Dib playthrough, or maybe Duncan Idaho to Fir Hawat. Tell me in the comments, as well as what you thought about this format. I had a lot of fun making it, hopefully you had at least half the fun watching it. You can also check out some of my other videos in the meantime for guides and reviews for the game. And I'd definitely be back, so see you soon.